We're talking about one of the biggest stories, not just in tech, but in global finance right now. SpaceX, they just went public at auction, and almost immediately it surged past $2 trillion. And yes, you heard that right. Elon Musk is officially the world's first trillionaire. But that's not even the wildest part, is it, Randy?
Not even close, Michael. I mean, the ink wasn't even dry on the IPO paperwork. And right after that, SpaceX dropped a staggering $60 billion to buy the AI coding tool Cursor. It's an all-stock deal, which tells you a lot about the confidence or perhaps the sheer audacity of this move. And the immediate question that everyone in our community and frankly, everyone in AI is asking, what does all of this actually mean for Grok, for XAI? And what about the broader market perception of AI?
That's the million-dollar, or should I say trillion-dollar question. It's a huge shift. So Randy, let's try to break this down fairly for our listeners. Give us the core facts first, then we can dive into the implications.
Great question, Michael, and it really is a lot to unpack. First, the undisputed facts. SpaceX priced its record-breaking IPO at $135 per share on June 11th, giving the company an initial valuation of $1.77 trillion. That alone was historic. But then it popped significantly on debut, closing around $2.1 trillion. Now here's the kicker, and this is where AI really enters the equation. A big chunk of that premium, analysts are saying anywhere from 50 to 70%, is investors betting on the AI angle, not just rockets, Starlink, or even space tourism. This isn't just about launching things into orbit anymore. Earlier this year, in February, SpaceX had already fully absorbed XAI in a deal that valued the combined entity around $1.25 trillion. So Grok, the Colossus supercomputer, all of XAI are now officially part of a public rocket company. It's unique, to say the least.
Okay, so let me get this straight. Investors are essentially paying rocket prices for AI upside. They're seeing the space infrastructure, the satellite network, and thinking this is the future of AI compute and data distribution?
Exactly, Michael. That's precisely the narrative driving a significant portion of that valuation. On the bullish side, and it's a compelling argument, this whole setup gives Grok and the XAI team enormous, almost unparalleled resources. SpaceX now has massive cash reserves from the IPO, not to mention the existing Starlink infrastructure, which is a global low-latency network. But the really exciting part, the part that gets AI researchers buzzing, are the plans for orbital data centers. Imagine compute that's physically outside the Earth's atmosphere, potentially free from some terrestrial constraints, cooled by the vacuum of space. That could solve the single biggest bottleneck in advanced AI development right now, and cheap, abundant, and efficient compute.
Orbital data centers, that sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, but I can see the vision there. And the vertical integration, you mentioned that. How does Cursor fit into this grand plan?
That's where the strategy really tightens up, in theory. This isn't just about throwing money at a problem. Vertical integration here is incredibly powerful. You've got real-time satellite data potentially feeding into models, the world-class engineering talent that built rockets and Starlink, and now, with Cursor, a leading edge in AI-powered software development. Cursor, for those who might not be familiar, is widely considered one of the best AI coding tools out there. It's not just a fancy autocomplete, it's an environment designed to help developers write, debug, and understand code at a fundamentally accelerated pace using AI. SpaceX bought it for that $60 billion in all stock just days after the IPO. They've actually already been jointly training models with Cursor's team on the Colossus supercomputer, leveraging that incredible compute power.
So it's not just a speculative buy. There's already an active collaboration and integration plan. That's interesting. What kind of improvements are we talking about?
Precisely. The expectation is that these joint improvements are supposed to ship very soon in both the standalone Cursor product and within a new feature set called Grok Build. This could genuinely make Grok much stronger at serious software engineering and agentic coding, areas where, to be frank, it has historically lagged behind more established models like Claude and various GPT versions. If Grok can become a truly powerful coding assistant, especially for complex multi-step engineering tasks, that's a massive competitive advantage. Think about it, a model that can not only generate code, but also iteratively refine it, test it, and even deploy it based on satellite data or real-time feedback from a global network. That's the dream.
That does sound like a dream for developers, no doubt. But $60 billion, Randy, that sounds insane for an AI coding tool, no matter how good it is. Is this genuinely a smart, strategic move, or is this classic Elon Musk overpaying with hype, banking on future potential that may or may not materialize?
That's a completely fair criticism, Michael, and there's a very strong skeptical case here, one that many financial analysts are vocalizing. Let's look at the numbers for a second. SpaceX made about $18 to $19 billion in revenue last year, which is impressive, but they still lost nearly $5 billion. So the valuation is currently trading at over 100 times sales. I mean, compare that to a mature tech company or even other high-growth firms, and it's astronomical. Valuation experts like the renowned Aswath Damodaran from NYU and even Morningstar, they think the fair value for SpaceX, based purely on its current space business and realistic growth projections, is closer to $780 billion to $1.3 trillion. That's still a huge number, but it's significantly less than $2.1 trillion.
So you're saying that extra $1 trillion or so is basically an AI story premium, just pure speculation on the AI side?
Precisely. A huge part of that extra trillion is essentially investors buying into the AI story, the potential future synergies. And we've talked before on this show about how many agentic AI projects, while promising, are still struggling to deliver real, measurable ROI in the short to medium term. Grok remains indeed excellent for developers, incredibly useful, but integrating it, no matter how good the joint training, won't magically close the gap on fundamental frontier reasoning. That's a monumental challenge that requires breakthroughs, not just better coding tools. And let's not gloss over the $60 billion price tag. That is an enormous price, one of the largest startup acquisitions ever, certainly in the AI space. It sets a new benchmark, but it also carries immense risk. If these promised AI synergies don't materialize fast enough, or if Grok doesn't make a significant leap in capabilities that translates to revenue, shareholders could severely punish the stock. The market gives, and the market takes away, especially with story stocks.
That's a very sobering perspective, Randy. So for Grok users, like myself and many of our listeners, what does all of this actually change? Are we going to see dramatically better coding, faster updates, or is this mostly a financial story playing out behind the scenes that won't directly impact our daily interactions with Grok?
It's going to be both, Michael. In the short term, you should absolutely expect Grok to get meaningful coding upgrades via these jointly trained models. The Cursor acquisition wasn't just for show. It was about integrating that capability. Grok Build, as they're calling it, could become a serious competitor, not just to Cursor standalone, but to other leading AI coding assistants like Claude Code or even GitHub Copilot. So if you're a developer or even someone who dabbles in scripting, you should see improvements in code generation, debugging, and understanding complex functions. This is where the immediate, tangible benefits for users lie.
Okay, so short term, actual feature improvements. That's encouraging. What about the long term, thinking about those orbital data centers or Starlink?
Long term, this is where the truly speculative but potentially revolutionary impact comes in. If SpaceX can actually pull off building orbital compute infrastructure or effectively utilize Starlink for low latency global inference, meaning AI models can respond incredibly fast no matter where you are on Earth, Grok could gain cost and speed advantages that current entirely ground-based closed models like GPT and Claude struggle to match. Imagine an AI that runs on power generated in space with data centers in vacuum communicating through a global satellite mesh. That's a fundamental architectural shift that could lower the cost of inference dramatically, making advanced AI far more accessible and ubiquitous. It's a huge if, but the potential is undeniable.
That's a pretty compelling vision. But every coin has two sides, right? What are the risks for Grok and its users from all of this new development?
Risks are absolutely real and shouldn't be overlooked. Firstly, regulatory scrutiny on Musk's entire empire, now even larger, is already extremely high. Antitrust concerns, data privacy implications with Starlink's global reach, and the sheer power concentrated in one entity will attract significant attention from governments worldwide. Secondly, Grok's stated mission of maximum truth-seeking has already caused controversies due to its unfiltered, sometimes provocative responses. Being part of a $2 trillion public company under intense market pressure might force more conservative safety guardrails or content moderation policies. Some users who appreciate Grok's current unfiltered style might not like that. Public companies have a different set of responsibilities and pressures than private ventures, especially one under such intense scrutiny.
So it could become safer, but potentially less Grok-like in the process. That's an interesting trade-off. Bringing it back to the big picture, Randy, looking at all of this, the IPO, the valuation, the Cursor acquisition, is this brilliant vertical integration, a visionary move by Musk to build the ultimate AI company, or is it just another layer of the ever-expanding AI bubble bound to pop when the hype runs out?
The bear case is equally strong and grounded in history. The valuation assumes near-perfect execution on multiple moonshots simultaneously, building orbital data centers, achieving frontier AI breakthroughs, successfully integrating a massive acquisition, all while navigating global regulations and public market pressures. History is absolutely full of big tech mergers and ambitious visions that look genius on paper, but deliver significant disappointment or at least underperformed expectations. We've seen countless companies chase AI hype, throw billions at it, and still struggle with actual returns on investment. This could be different because of that infrastructure moat, that unique vertical integration, or it could just be the biggest story stock of the decade, a testament to market sentiment and the power of a compelling narrative rather than immediate sustainable fundamentals. The next few years will be fascinating to say the least.
Absolutely fascinating. This is definitely a story we'll be following closely. Randy, before we wrap up, What's one bite-sized action for our listeners related to all of this?
Okay, here's a practical one. If you're a developer or even just curious about AI coding, try out Grok's latest coding features this week. Or if you're serious, sign up for Cursor and put it to the test on a real project. See if you notice the SpaceX AI synergy yet. Is it genuinely smarter, faster, more useful? We want to know. Drop your results, your experiences, any code snippets in our community forum or on social media with Bite-Sized AI. We'll discuss the most insightful ones and maybe even some of the wilder ones next episode.
Love it. Real-world feedback is always the best data. Randy, thanks as always for keeping it balanced, insightful, and always grounded in what actually matters to our listeners.